and welcome to the 151st edition of Beer Issues. My name is Matt Brucker, and I'm coming to you live here from the studios at Casa de Brucker, where we're going to be having another world-class beer today. We're going to have one of my favorites. I have always been a fan of the Gulden Draak Classic, which is they call it, it's kind of unique, they call it a red triple. Oh, all right, and we're back after a little bit of an error there where we kind of had the beer kind of implode on us. Now, that does occasionally happen with a highly carbonated beer, but I wanted to make sure I cleaned it up so we're not sitting in a puddle of beer. So anyway, as I was saying, this is a Belgian style Belgian red triple, which is very unique because most triples, of course, are going to be a light color, and this is a more dark brown color. Now, I'm going to tell you real quick while this is warming up a bit. This beer clocks in at 95 out of 100, so it's world class. And to be honest with you, I've drank it many, many times. And I might even rate it a little bit higher than the 95, more like a 97 in my opinion. But we're going to taste it today. We're going to see it. And I've had all kinds of different variations of this to where we drink it fresh. Like this one's relatively fresh. But I've also had ones that have been aged. I think I had one last week that I think had aged for like 5 years. So it had a little bit less carbonation than this. Obviously, it didn't implode. So anyway, the beer clocks in at 10.5% alcohol by volume, so it's not something you're going to pound by the pool. This, again, is a Belgian triple. There's always been an argument whether it should be considered a Belgian triple or a quad, just because of the dark color. But really, it all has to do with how it's made. And I think it's made more like a triple. But they do use 3 times more malt in this than a typical lager. So it's going to be a malty strong ale. The Gulden Draak, the brewery, which is Brewery van Steenberg, it has been brewing beer for, they've been brewing this beer, I believe, for over 6 centuries. So this is not something, new. Now, when you smell this beer, you're getting this sweet, you're getting a sweetness. You're getting the roasted malts for sure. You definitely get the Belgian yeast, but there's another form of yeast in there because they do a double fermentation on this beer. So they do the first round of beer, they do it with a Belgian yeast, and then on the second fermentation, believe it or not, they use a wine yeast. So I've never really understood why I like this beer as much as I do, and I'm thinking that it might be because of the double fermentation with the regular Belgian yeast, which I love Belgian yeast, and then they use that wine yeast on the second fermentation. But I've always thought it was so unique. I never felt that it really tasted like a lot of triples, but I never thought it tasted like the quads. So maybe it's the way they make the beer with the wine yeast that sets it apart as almost a beer category by itself, I would say. Oh, that beer, I am telling you, this beer is special. And I don't say that about too many beers, but to me, this is a special beer. You get the dark fruit, you get the caramel, you get that Belgian yeast flavor, you get a little bit like clove in there, maybe some coffee, but it's very mild. It's more like it's a sweeter, but it's not overly sweet. Like, when I say it's sweet, it's a good sweet, like an alcohol, yummy sweetness, but the malts are it's just loaded with malt flavor. It is, Such a quality beer. Now, this beer, I wanted to see here. I think it was brewed in 20. I don't know if that's a brew date. Let me look here, see if I can figure it out here. Yeah, brewed year was in 2019. So this has had some aging, not a lot. If you hold on to this beer for like 5 years, it's just still going to be a delicious beer. But it's just so smooth. But even drinking it fresh like this, it is so delicious. Mm. So I think it is. What the thing that I really like about this is I think it is the wine yeast, the secondary fermentation on the beer with the wine yeast, because it just brings a whole new complexity to the beer that you don't get. I mean, don't get me wrong, Belgian style triples are in themselves complex with lots of different flavors, but this is, I think, with the secondary fermentation with the wine yeast, it's just phenomenal. I can't say enough good things about this. If you see it, you'll know it with the Gulden Dragon on there. There's a whole story about the dragon. And this glass, this is very much a collector's item glass. Long story about it, but this was my second one of these. We had a unfortunate accident with the first one. I won't get into it, but it was a sad day when the Gulden Draak glass, the dragon glass, or they call it the dragon's egg. So in the bottom of the glass, there's like an etched dragon in the bottom of the glass. It's very, very, very cool glass. And there's a whole history behind the dragon. It's actually in the city where the brewery is. I think they have this dragon in the steeple or something like that, because there's a long history on the dragon, which I didn't get into today. But maybe when we do a future episode of one of the other beers that they make, we might talk about the dragon a little bit more. But Gulden Draak, or Golden Dragon, is the beer. The glass is the dragon's egg, and the beer is absolutely phenomenal. So make sure you check it out. If you see it, grab it. It's not going to be, super cheap, but well worth it, and it's something you can save for special occasions, or do like I do. I have one every so often, and then I hold on to them, and then when I'm like really in the mood for something special, I might go grab this. So. Oh yeah. So this is actually, just so you know, it's ranked as the number 4 strong ale Belgian dark in the world. So I mean, it's not just me that thinks this beer is good. It's pretty much known as being a great beer. So if you've enjoyed this, make sure you tell your friends about Beer Issues and about how much fun we're having talking about and drinking good quality beer like today's beer. And if you want cool gear like this cool Beer Issue shirt, go to shop.beerissues.com. And as my wife likes to say, I have beer issues.